This is Spreaker Web Radio.
It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That's another download from the Steel Shine release, which you can find over there at iTunes, and that's called Paparazzi. And Chris, on the line with us, we've got the guy who actually sings that tune in the most stellar way, our good friend Sean Sheldon.
I knew it was coming, Neely.
Well, you know, we got to joke with you, man. You got a good sense of humor about that kind of stuff.
Oh, I knew what I was in for.
So what's up, man? You just texted me. You just got off the waves. You were out there surfing?
Yeah, Brandy and I took a trip to Trestles in Orange County, San Onofre. And we just got done with the waves, man. It was awesome out there.
Nice. Very nice, dude. Well, speaking of awesome, dude, we have been playing a lot of your, I don't know if you call this your latest project or something you sang on or what, but we have been enjoying some Steel Shine tonight. And, you know, since you obviously haven't been on the show in a while, and, you know, clearly...
Well, neither of you, Chris.
I know. But clearly your world has changed a whole lot. So why don't you, share what you want to share about that and talk about, Steel Shine and how you became involved with that.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. Let's see, where do we start? Steel Shine, let's start with that. A good buddy of mine, Dave Henserling, who I worked with, I did Icon for a while, and he was the bass player for Icon. He contacted me just on a whim. And he's like, hey, man, I've got these tracks. I think you'd rock them. You know, what do you say? And he sent me the songs, and I took a listen, and I was blown away. And I was like, man, this might actually work.
Sure.
So we just started trading files back and forth, and I started just knocking out the vocal tracks one at a time, and he'd do most of the editing. I would just sing through the song 5, 10, sometimes 15 times. And he'd just cut it all up and make it sound killer. And we did a whole album like that. It took about, 3.5, 4 months. And I was doing that while I was going to school. I'm actually back in college. It's weird. I get a lot of Rodney Dangerfield jokes kicking around going back to school. But, yeah, it was cool because I was making this record and working on my degree and surfing a lot and, just enjoying life and being creative when the time calls and just, living it up.
Sure. Well, and that's one thing that you shared with me, when you and I talked for what seemed like a year last week, is that you're not where when we last left with the Classic Metal Show, both me and you were highly focused on music and only music. And it's not that way now for you. I mean, I think you still know that you have the talent, and you certainly show it whenever you use it. But you've kind of switched directions a little bit to where that is not your focus anymore. Is that correct?
That is, and it's kind of a disappointment to people sometimes because there are a lot of people that still follow me on the internet and listen to my songs, and a lot of devoted fans. And they're really bummed when they learn that I'm not as focused on it or, making it my main priority in life. But, priorities change, and if you can't have fun doing it, then you shouldn't do it, right? And
right.
I got into music because I love it, and I got into it for all the right reasons. And then after, different tours and different professional situations and a lot of letdowns, I just became bitter, and I stopped enjoying it. And so I figured that the best thing I could do is, take a break and just regain some perspective and look into, I figure if it's meant to be, it'll come to me. And so far it has, and Steel Shine was one of those projects where I wasn't looking for it, and it just kind of fell in my lap, and I'm really proud of what we did together.
Right, sure. Now, when when you came to this decision to get out of it, I think the obvious thing that people would look at was when the whole Adler thing fell apart. You know, where you split Adler at the same time, then you went through the name change, and you kind of repositioned yourself, professionally. I don't even think, because I remember when there was the press release about you changing your name and whatnot, and when you left Adler and whatnot, and it all seemed like it was like in that time frame. Was that really was that kind of a point for you where you were just like, you know what, this sucks, I don't want to do this anymore, this is not what I got into doing it for anymore, so I want to not only divulge, get rid of my association with that project, but at the same time, everything else that people are always going to associate with that project? Is that how that all played out?
Yeah, it was really just time for a new chapter, and I had reached a point where I was getting called to be like the guy that could sing everybody else's songs, and with Adler it was Guns N' Roses, and I'd get all these other gig offers where they wanted me to sing a bunch of songs from the 80s and AC/DC and good stuff. I mean, stuff that I love, stuff that I grew up listening to and that I enjoy. But at some point, I'm like, wait, what am I doing? I started as an artist, and now I'm kind of, chasing the buck, and I'm losing interest quick. And then I did Icon for a little while, which was cool because they were a lesser-known band, and we did Rocklahoma, and we opened up for Queensryche at the Orpheum Theater in Phoenix. And I was traveling around, flying here and there, and meeting a lot of my idols and playing with a lot of the stars that I grew up listening to. And it was just kind of, I'm like, wow, this is cool, but now what? And I changed my name as like a marker, a marking point to say, you know what, from here on out, it's like, it's just a new chapter. And it was like a way for me to regain my creative power in my life and take the power back, and just start writing a new chapter.
Well, Sean, or Sheldon, I'm going to call you Sheldon. I don't care. You're Sheldon to me. You'll always be Sheldon to me. I don't give a shit what you say. But, you did the Classic Metal Show theme song for us about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, and I got to be honest with you, I can't be more proud of that song, that little, minute and a half, 2 minute song, than anything. I mean, you might laugh about that, but go ahead.
It's my greatest hit right there.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, I can't be more proud of that song because of the creativity and how quickly you put it together and what you did for the show. And, the Classic Metal Show, much like the Classic Metal Show theme song, which you created, is a creation of mine, and obviously Chris has had a big influence on it over the years. It's a great achievement where I'm concerned, and I'm very proud to have known you and the fact that you did this for me. But, like your fans who you mentioned earlier who write you and they're disappointed that you're, not making music your focus, I get it, because the music business is tough. You get into it because you love it. It would be great if you could make a living doing it, but we all know what the truth of the matter is when it comes to the industry. Yeah. But I gotta ask you, Sheldon, let me rephrase this. I got to know somebody who went through the same thing that you did. I don't know if you know Jamie St. James from the band Black and Blue at all.
I do. I know Jamie St. James very well. I actually, I know him back from the days when he recorded at my dad's recording studio. I was like 10 years old when I met Jamie, and I saw him maybe about 3 or 4 years ago at the House of Blues.
Sure.
So I'm very familiar with Jamie, and he's a very talented singer.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story. How I met Jamie St. James is that just out of the blue, he moved to Cleveland for no apparent reason. He told me that he told his realtor to find him a place to live in the Midwest and just pick a place to move. And he moved to the east side of Cleveland. He was totally out of music. He was building a dog kennel to have a place where people could board their dogs. And that's what he was going to do with his life from there on out. He was just going to run this dog kennel. Well, I ran into him and I, told him, what a fan I was and, how much I enjoyed his music. And he was totally out of music at this point. Well, I introduced him to some local musicians in the Cleveland area. He got back into music and he did a band called St. James with it, which, was his solo project. And then he got back with Black and Blue and he's out there doing it again. Because just like you, he sort of got burned out or embittered on the music scene because it just wasn't what he got into the business for, because it just didn't have the same appeal to him. But he re-energized his interest in it and got back into it. And a talented guy like you, I hope that is the case where you're concerned. And I'm glad you hooked up with a guy like Dave Henserling and did this Steel Shine release or, music, because we had Dave on the show earlier this evening and he had nothing but good things to say about you. And we just talked to Ron Keel from the band Keel, and he had nothing but high regard for you as far as your talent as a singer, and he told me to pass on his regards to you.
Wow, that is so cool. I don't rule anything out. As far as I'm concerned, life is a journey, and music is a gift. And if I have the opportunity to contribute in a meaningful way, then that's all I'm looking for. I'm not doing it just to do it anymore. Like, I want to do it for something meaningful, like where I can make a contribution and make a difference in the world. I'm not doing it to feed my ego. I'm not doing it to, fill up my bank account. I'm not doing it. I'm just doing it when it's necessary and when it feels good and when it's that way it can be real, because to me it's a special thing. It's a gift. And it people pick up on that. When you like what you do and you love what you do, then people feel that. And when you're just doing it because you're going through the motions, they feel that too. And I'd rather stay true to my heart and to my talent and to the people that have supported me along the way and the people that enjoy the music that I've made. And, that's where I'm at. If there's an opportunity in the future where the stars line up and things are right, and I feel it in my heart, my soul, then that's the way it's going to go. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Well, I want to ask you real quick, and I don't want to, beat a dead horse here, but, when you were here in the Chicago area with Adler's Appetite, and then you went to Cleveland, I hooked up with you here when you were here, and then you hooked up with Chris the following night, and you were doing the whole Adler thing. When we first came in contact with you and you were doing your solo project, your Tarsha stuff, you had certain things to say about being a part of that Adler project, and then you rejoined them. In hindsight now, would this be a case of fuck me once, shame on you, fuck me twice, shame on me?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, it got to the point, they called me again to tour again. And I went and met with them, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And, he burned too many bridges. Adler, it doesn't work the way that he's trying to build it. You can't just use people the way that he uses people. And, I think that his whole dream was, and even the whole reason why he had his band was so that he could one day reunite with Guns N' Roses and do the big Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And now that happened, and Axl didn't show up, he felt disrespected because he's moved on. He's got a new band. He's like, hey, this is Guns N' Roses now. you don't accept it, then, you know, I don't want nothing to do with you. So, you know, and then Slash and Adler and all the whole gang, they all showed up. But, you know, I mean, as much as I love those original Guns N' Roses songs, I mean, the fact is that Axl owns the name Guns N' Roses, and Guns N' Roses is Axl and all of his new band members. You know, as crazy as that sounds, like, that's the reality, you know, living in the past of, but that's not the real Guns N' Roses. I get that. It's not the original lineup. I get that. But the reunion is, bottom line, never going to happen. I think that completely deflated Adler's dreams. You know, he released that one single, pre-Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and haven't heard anything from him since. And I personally doubt we'll hear anything from him after this. I don't know where there is to go for him. It was an interesting chapter. I can't say it was all that enjoyable, but looking back on it, you know, because I was so focused on music, I mean, I had both fingers crossed, praying that it could turn into something, that maybe this would be the back door into the industry, that we could put a record out, that we could, you know, sell some units, you know, fill up the bank account, live the dream, you know, get established. You know, I came from such a shaky background, and all I ever had was music. You know, it wasn't just a dream, it was my salvation, you know? And when I realized that I was basing my whole future on someone as, you know, I don't even know the word.
Dysfunction? Dysfunctional?
Dysfunctional, just I couldn't build a future on that, you know? I mean, I tried, but it was out of desperation, you know? And so much of my life and music was out of desperation because I needed a way out of my socioeconomic position in the world, which I had a really shaky foundation. And so after that whole experience, I got real with myself, and I said, you know what? It's not going to happen with music. Music isn't the way to build a foundation in my life. I need to build a foundation in my life with things that matter, you know, meaningful relationships, an education, and things that matter in my life. You know, if you've got all that stability and you've got all that stuff handled and you want to go out and have a fun time and woohoo, you know, go join a band, you know, go on tour. It's a cool way to get some kicks, you know, but it's not a way to build a life. It's not a way to, you know, it's not a way to find happiness. It's just a distraction, you know. Music, the art form of music, is a very important and meaningful expression, but, you know, the whole, you know, going out, rocking in a, you know, dirty nightclub night after night, you know, for your bread, it's demeaning, and it wears on your heart, and it wears on your soul, and it finally got to me, and I was like, you know what, I want something better for my life, and I'm ready to make the sacrifices and do what I need to do to turn it around.
Excellent.
That's where I am today.
All right. Well, Sheldon, where can people find out about you, or are you even available on the net or anything anymore?
Yeah, you know, I have all my websites are functional. TarshaRock.com is running, and let me think. I'm on Facebook at Seann Nicols, SeannNicols, and yeah, I just got to say about the name change, it's one of the most liberating things I've ever done in my entire life. You know, I thought about it, and I'm like, you know, like my parents named me. You know, they had no idea who I'd be in this world, what I was going to do with my life. And as an artist, I think it was one of the most liberating and, you know, awesome. It's an awesome feeling to name yourself. You know, I think if I could make one change in the world, that's the change I would make. That when people get old enough, they get to choose their own name, because I feel so good about my life knowing that I've named myself. It's just a really neat feeling. So just something to think about.
Well, the Snake Man did the same thing. That's Snake Man with 3 N's.
Are you kidding
That's real. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
That Snake Man with 3 N's.
Snake Man with 3 N's. Now, is that his? Like, did he do it legally?
No, I'm just kidding with you. I'm just bagging on you a little bit.
That would be funny.
All right, Sean or Sheldon or when I come out to LA, we're going to go to the Rainbow regardless of the bad vibe in the music world. So we're going to still do that.
Yeah, and I just for the people that are listening right now, man, music is awesome, and I think it's great to follow the bands that you love, and, but it's important to understand that these are real people. These are real people making these records, and the industry is just so upside down. It doesn't support new music. I don't know what happened or where things went awry, but anytime that there's new music to listen to, it's truly a gift, because majority of it comes from it comes from these musicians. It comes from their pockets, and it comes from their heart. It comes from their soul. So I want to say all support Steve over the years, and I just want to say thank you to all the people that are listening out there. Thank you so much.
All right, Sheldon or Sean or whatever you're calling yourself these days. We're gonna wrap things up here with something from the Steel Shine, and I'm gonna pick "Psychedelic Girl." You got any input on that?
Oh, "Psychedelic Girl." That song just came out of nowhere. Dave, he wrote those lyrics in just a frantic fury. One night, he's like, "I got it." He sent it over, and wow, what a song. What a song, and I love the mix. I think the mix just came out so neat. And I think that "Psychedelic Girl," what was the other? There were "Psychedelic Girl" and "Laughing with the Sinners," man. "Laughing with the Sinners" was an awesome song, too, to work on. They were all awesome, but those two just really, really got me. Have you played that one yet?
Yep, we actually dedicated it to the people who listen to the Classic Metal Show and listen to Chris and I, because they are definitely sinners if they tune in and listen to our debauchery.
Yeah, and one last thing. You guys are freaking awesome. You guys have just weathered all the changes in the business. You guys keep it real. You talk to the people that make the music. You have a friendship, one-on-one personal vibe with these people, and I really admire what you guys do. As far as radio interviewing journalists, rockers, you guys rock. Seriously.
Well, thank you, Dalai Lama. All right, Sheldon, I'm going to wrap things up here with "Psychedelic Girl." So good luck with that new accounting career, and hopefully we'll hear some new tunes from you soon.
Yeah, one last plug is that I've actually done some work with a group called Liberty and Justice, and
Justin Murr of Liberty and Justice.
I gotta say, Justin Murr is awesome.
Yes, he is. He's from Illinois.
He makes great music, and I've had the honor and privilege of working with him on several tunes now. And, look him up. Justin Murr, Liberty and Justice. You guys, I know I'm going to get another call from you guys soon, because there's a song coming out, "Ice Ice Baby." It's the heavy metal remake of "Ice Ice Baby." So,
well, the world was waiting for that. We were waiting for that, and you fulfilled a dream.
When you get your hands on it, I will be waiting for your call so that I can hear the plethora of debauchery and whatever else you guys can throw my way.
Perfect.
Okay, Sheldon. Well, we're going to play your tune with Dave Hensarling, and good luck to you, and don't end up like Dennis Wilson, okay?
Jesus.
Okay, I just have one last thing for you.
Excellent. Well, here it is. This is Steel Shine with Psychedelic Girl exclusively here. What is it, Sheldon?
Oh, the Classic Metal Show.